I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm going to set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having. Hello, everybody. This is Mike O'Hearn right here on Generation Iron, the Mike O'Hearn Show, and I have a very knowledgeable man with us today, the CEO of Titan Medical, Big Johnny, a friend of mine. I've been working with Titan Medical now for over 12 weeks. And something I definitely want to dive into today is with health and fitness, there's always that buzz. And right now, the big buzz is NAD is one of these products that you're going to hear a lot about if you're not already hearing a lot about it. And how beneficial this is to health. And not just health, but longevity is really the focus. And what I love is that being able to be in this industry, I get to see all these new things come about. And this is one of those things that I love. And because of Titan Medical, I've been able to implement into my protocol. So this is kind of cool. And we got the man that knows what's going on and the research behind it. But there's other things besides just this that I'd like to talk about today, besides me dropping some of my blood work today. So stay tuned. The blood work will be at the end of today's show. And right now, let's bring on Big Johnny.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Thank you for taking time today. Again, I know Titan Tuesday has become a thing for you and me.
Yes. Nice little staple every week. It's a beautiful thing, man. Going to talk about all these great things, helping people out. That's what it's all about.
This has been going for a bit for you and I keep, it's my homework day. So I get to learn so much from somebody that's in the trenches. I'm in the trenches in the sense of trying to implement it into my health and see how healthy I can be and how long I can stay in this game we call health and fitness. But on top of it, to learn so I can kind of teach others. And so I want to use today's show to see if we can't help some of those people that are in my age range, but also those younger cats, which pretty much is everybody watching this, right? Compared to me. But really that true health. And again, we're talking about NAD. What can you tell me about this and glutathione and these others? But starting out with this buzzword right now with the NAD.
Sure. So NAD is it's been around for a long time, right? NAD is actually produced in our body naturally. I started introducing NAD to our patients about 8.5 years ago. And this is when nobody was talking about it. Nobody really knew about it. The only people I really knew that knew about this were some pharmacists, and there were some doctors that did heavy research with NAD. And at that point in time, they were looking for cognitive function and how to fight against cognitive degeneration diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. So as we know, NAD has been a big popular.
Can you jump just right before that?
Sure.
So how did this come about to you? What was the trigger? Was it a phone call? Was somebody talking about it? Was there something going on, research that you stumbled across?
Yeah. So what happened was, that was in the earlier stages of Titan Medical Center. And I was looking for different things that were going to help people, right? That nobody was even talking about because, it's like cookie cutterville out there with some of these different clinics out there. And it's always has been. There's been an abundance of people out there and they really never have to look and see what's going to be the next best thing or what can really help people. It's what the pharmacies have as SKUs, and then we're going to start pushing this on patients, and whatever works the best, the most trendy thing, that's what we're going to prescribe, and that's what it's going to be. So, when we started talking about mental clarity and cognitive function and cellular repair, right? DNA protection, we really started diving deep into some different things. And obviously glutathione was there as a super antioxidant. It's good for a number of different things, free radicals and stuff like that. But when we really started talking about cellular repair on a cellular level and cognitive function, we really needed to talk about NAD. So I started researching NAD a lot. And like I said, I was getting with some different pharmacists, seeing what I could actually put together, what was going to stick together, what was going to be there as far as concentration, endotoxins, sterility testing, and all that. And even NAD by itself at that point is very potent, and that's all you need. So when I started looking into this, I started reading a lot of books by different doctors. I did some other research with the pharmacists about, what was the daily dose we could really give people. And then we really started diving deep into it and be able to use it. So I started using it. I'm like, man, this is just a game changer. When I inject this stuff, basically mental clarity is at an all-time high that day, laser focused, ready to go, natural energy too as well. So it's not a stimulant energy. It's not bouncing off the walls. It's just good, clean energy that you get. So that was my big into it. I'm like, man, this is going to be the next best thing, right? I'm like, this is great. So, at that point in time, I was only doing 5 milligrams a day. And I was like, man, we're feeling this and stuff like that. And then we upped it up to like 50 milligrams a day. And like, wow, this is the sweet spot. So at that time, there was nobody doing injections. There was nobody doing infusions at all. And all this is documented on my social media. So you guys can go back those 8.5 years and see. But, when we really start getting into it, I'm like, man, this is going to be a game changer for so many different people out there. And it's going to help in so many different ways. Not just cognitive function, because, people are like, oh, well, I have good mental clarity already anyway. I'm pretty much on it, jump to it. But when we talk about it, like coenzyme, it's a coenzyme. It's in every living cell of the body. It helps with ATP as far as energy. So it's distributed through each cell in the body. And then, like I said, the other big thing is it helps repair cells on a cellular level. That is at the best level you could possibly do. What happens is our cells, right, they break down. And what happens is they try to go back to themselves and they can never really repair themselves fully. And that's when decline and aging and all these things come into play. So at that point, it helps repair cells at the cellular level. So it actually can repair the body in some different functions that it might be missing out on. And we were talking about earlier, just before this, but I didn't even know this fact until I really did some more research on it just lately, because there's a lot more research that's being done on NAD. And that, at 40 years old, you're going to give up 50% of your natural production of NAD at 40 years old. At 60 years old, it goes up to 80%. So that's a big miss of what your body's producing of NAD.
So it's almost like it's not even functioning at that point.
Right. It's a total decline.
For reproducing or building. Yes. Or
it's not going to reproduce more. You're not going to get any more. So at that point, what's going to happen to the body? Right? It's not going to have this protectiveness as far as your DNA, protecting the DNA, trying to repair the DNA. Cellular decline is going to go throughout the body. Cognitive function is going to start going down the tubes. That's why as we get older, that starts really going down for a lot of different people. Chronic conditions, can start kicking in. At that point, you can lose more energy. Now, the good thing about NAD too is it helps metabolic function. A lot of people don't know that. So at that point, it will improve the way that your metabolic your metabolism is working inside your body. So that means that it will work more efficiently and effectively, and you could lose weight. Now, this isn't a big weight loss drug. I'm not going to push it and say that. But if it can help improve metabolic function inside the body, then it can be effective with helping and aiding in weight loss too as well. So that's just a big one. And then last week we were talking about gray hair. Jeff asked a question, hey, what kind of peptide or what kind of medication or therapy out there can help with, not getting as many gray hairs? And NAD is one of those. So NAD can actually slow down the aging effect. And at that point, slow down you getting more gray hairs. I don't think it will reverse the gray hairs on your head, but if it can slow down you getting even more, then that's a win-win right there. So there's a big thing. Now, NAD is really pushed. I see it pushed in IVs and infusions. And that's great and all. But, they want you to sit down for 2 hours, 3 hours for a 500 milligram infusion. Because if you do get an infusion of NAD, somebody should warn you right away that, listen, when you get the infusion of NAD, it's going to make your chest real tight and real warm. And if you don't tell somebody that, they're going to freak out. Like, what is going on? I'm having a heart attack, getting a restriction. I don't like this feeling. But if you warn people what's going to happen, they'll understand. It can actually give them shortness of breath too if it hits them too quick. Now, when I get IV infusions, I'll do it within 45 minutes to an hour. I know the effect that's going to happen. I'm ready for the effect. And I just want to get it done because I don't got 2 or 3 hours to sit in the chair. And a lot of people don't have that time either. They can really get that, every month, maybe 2 months, every quarter. And that would be good. But the other ways that you can get it is intramuscular injection. So you can give yourself an intramuscular injection daily at a smaller dose and raise those levels up and get the benefits every single day. Or NAD is so awesome that you don't have to use it every day. And let's say you have a big important meeting going on, you got a podcast, or you just need to be on point. So you inject it that day and you're ready to go for that day. You'll be zoomed in, laser focused that day. So if you're on a financial budget and you can't take it unlimited shots, you can pick and choose your days and what you want to do, and you can really focus in on being your best optimal.
It's wild. It's wild to think that it's like, I don't know. It's a funny term, and I'll say it. It's like steroids for the brain.
Yes,
it heightens the brain almost. So it's like it's getting into hyperdrive. I first heard about this from a buddy, Phil Heath, former Mr. Olympia, was telling me about this years ago, saying that when he had to do an appearance or a lecture or something, he's like, Mike, the people that he, and this is so true, the people that he's around is such elite, intelligent individuals that you do have to be at your A game. And he was saying that he would do that prior to those or after those or at expos to be just really on. And I thought that was very interesting and cool, mostly for today's day and age, that we're getting so, I don't know, it seems like just a paradoxical situation in this life, that we are in the situation to where we can actually enhance our brain function, which is so cool to me.
Yes.
I do have a question though. Is this some of the stuff that is being, I know this is off the topic of health and fitness, but is this something that's being used for people with Alzheimer's or anything like that?
Yes. So that's the big one. Alzheimer's and dementia. They're using this right now in studies, and they've seen great improvement as far as motor skills, as far as cognitive function starting to come back to a certain extent. This is the way that they're trying to combat it. There are other drugs out there for Alzheimer's and dementia too that they're working on. They have some great research behind it. But as far as NAD, it's the most natural way to be able to fight degenerative cognitive decline.
I hope that is. It's one of the charities that I support and try to help.
Me too.
It is an ugly disease. Oh my God. It really is. So that being said, I just love the fact that it's cool to hear that there's at least some hope there, that they're working on that to try to, help that deterioration of the mind.
So the first name that I ever gave the injectable 8 years ago was Limitless. It was our Titan Limitless injection, because that was the closest thing that I seen to the movie Limitless. So the NTZ, the little pill that he took.
Yeah.
So that was the closest thing. Now that drug was based on some other drug that's out there right now. That's a controlled substance.
Oh, I thought that was just made up completely.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, that movie was based on another drug, right? But at that point, that's a controlled substance. And even that drug, and I'll tell you after what it is, I'm not going to spread it what is on here. But at that point, if you take that drug, there's some people, I'd say like 60%, if you take half of that pill or maybe the full, if you don't need it or your chemicals are there, it will give you the most splitting headaches ever. So that was definitely not recommended for me. I tried it in all different forms and it just was not a game changer. But this, no headaches, great for your body, great for mental function, great for metabolism, great for anti-aging purposes too, extending lifespan. I mean, NAD is the real deal. Cellular repair and rejuvenation right there. That is the biggest winner of all. As far as for anti-aging and stuff like that, that's slowing down the process. That's slowing down the biological clock. So at that point, you're getting a lot of different benefits from NAD. And like I said, you can do the infusion. The infusions are great. There's a little bit of time in the seat. But if you can't do it, or you want to be able to do it from the comfort of your own home, the intramuscular injections with a little insulin needle, you can do it at your leisure anytime you really want to.
Glutathione is another one.
Yes.
Because these are those things that if people are having, I guess this is kind of correlating into me going over some of my blood work that we did earlier. One of the things was glutathione helps. It's an antioxidant, but much deeper than that for the viewers today.
Yeah. So mother of antioxidants, glutathione is the number one choice above all, right? And at that point, it's produced in the liver naturally. And this is something that depletes over time. And it also depletes on other factors, alcohol use, smoking use. If you're sick, these will all deplete glutathione levels inside the body, inside the liver. So at that point, You can test for glutathione. So if there's ever any doubt, hey, listen, what are my glutathione levels? It's a $30 test through us. You can test what your levels are. But even if your levels are good, you might want to introduce glutathione for a number of different reasons. But
So
if they're bad,
is this something you could take, and if there's an overflow of it in your body just releases it and there's no side effects of having too much?
Yeah. This is not going to stay in the body. It's not going to build up. There's no toxicity as far as for glutathione. So you can take over and above, just like B12 or any water-soluble vitamin or anything like that out there. Same effect as far as glutathione. With glutathione, there's a number of different things that it's going to help along with. Inflammation.
Health and fitness right now is all about inflammation.
Right.
Right. The whole cold bath, plunge, inflammation, the foods that you're eating, inflammation, the sleep you're getting, inflammation. So here's another one for you guys that are concerned about that and try to bring that down.
Well, we know that inflammation can cause a lot of damage health-wise. So, constant inflammation inside the body is going to set you up for negative health effects down the road. And that could be a number of different things that happen because of it. So, controlling inflammation is a big one. And like you said, foods you eat can cause inflammation. Injuries can cause inflammation. There's a number of different things out there that can do this. So how are you going to combat that? And with glutathione, don't think about inflammation. Think about protecting the organs, liver, kidneys. That's one thing that glutathione I've seen, and it's so amazing because ALT and AST we see on every blood test, and that's your liver enzymes for you guys that don't know what ALT and AST are. And that's in a comprehensive metabolic panel. We run that with everybody, and usually general practitioners run that on everybody too as well. But if you see this, and a lot of general practitioners, they'll see people come through and they see these high. And they'll ask them, hey, listen, how's your diet and stuff like that? And they'll be like, oh, I eat fried foods and stuff. Well, you have a fatty liver. That's what they'll say. If you haven't been drinking alcohol or you're not taking a whole bunch of acetaminophen, because these can affect the liver functions as well, then they're going to say, well, it's your diet. You got to change your diet to get rid of this fatty liver, or the fatty liver may never go away. And the problem is with a fatty liver means that your body and your liver are definitely not running optimal. Your liver is your filter to the body. So at that point, the better it's working, the more fats it can go through, the better it can function and filter other things through. So with the fatty liver, this is one thing that can be combated very easily and simply with glutathione. So when I see people, they're like 20 points above where they should be. Like normal range is 0 to 40 and 0 to 44 for these. So if they're at 64, 84, general practitioners will be like, oh, it's fatty liver, you're having a problem with your liver. So 1 to 2 weeks on this program of glutathione, you retest and you're going to be golden. Now, the other
how many weeks?
Maybe 2 weeks tops.
Wow.
And you're within normal range. Or you're trending very down. Let's put it that way. Because I've seen people in triple digits, and usually
problem is I'm at Gold's Gym, so I don't want to say that to some of those members there.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that we're talking to the world here.
Yeah.
And so for around the world, and that's what today I think I hope they get this comprehension that we're talking about the liver and kidneys and the body and trying to rebuild the body from the inside out. Yeah. And it's not about working out. We're not even into the food portion yet, right, but we're into what supplementation you can do to help you create a better body, which is, I think, incredible. And I love that Titan Medical does that and focuses on that.
Yes.
I mean, that's the coolest thing to think about. I mean, I think, again, I'm so deep into this health and fitness that when anybody says an HRT company or something, they think so one-sided.
Right.
And what you guys actually do is make people healthy.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you're making them as healthy as they possibly can and ultimately giving them a better life.
Yes.
If chosen. So I just love the fact of that.
Yeah.
I want to bring another one up, Jam, because this one is really important right now.
Sure.
I know that you guys have seen the weather in New York. It's crazy. Ohio, yep. 0, like single digits under crazy, right? I know my mom is in New York. Everybody's sick in New York. Like literally everybody that I know is sick. A really good one jumped at me is the Trimune? Trimune, yeah, yep. Exactly. Yep. That one has vitamin C, is also good for inflammation, but it has so many good benefits to actually heal you if you have a cold or any symptoms, or at least protect your body from getting sick.
For sure.
I think that one right now, guys, trust me on this.
Yeah.
Jump on that. It's the season where everybody on the news worldwide is telling you that we're going to get hit January, February.
Yep.
That is the one that everybody has to jump
Yep.
on right now.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yeah. They're calling it the triple pandemic right now. RSV,
Yeah,
flu, and COVID.
Let's talk about
rising in
that.
every state.
Yeah, that's the one that's really, really important because it
Yeah.
has so many great benefits to stay healthy.
Yeah. And we were just talking about glutathione. So the Triimmune is a Triimmune for 3 reasons. Because that's glutathione at 200 milligrams per ml. So we were just talking about that. So you get all the benefits of that. Injectable vitamin C and zinc. So hopefully this will shorten the cold if you have a cold, or it will protect you from possibly getting the cold. It will definitely do you better. I promise you that. I mean, I don't know. We've had this for a couple of years now. And obviously, in 2020, everybody jumped on it right off the bat because nobody wanted to get sick. And it worked very well. A lot of healthcare people, patients especially that we service, they took that and they swore by it. And there's a lot of people that did not get sick, thank God, that utilized it. And it's got so many different benefits as far as for immune system boosting, free radicals in the body. I mean, there's so many different things just with one of those ingredients. And you add the other 2 in, and you're just getting a mega dose of good things that are going to help the body in so many different ways and to be healthy.
That's the one that I'm on right now. I ain't getting sick. I never been sick. I don't want to get sick. We have a lot of trips that we have to go to. We go into Mexico, traveling a lot and being on the airplanes. And
that makes me.
I
love this question. This is wow. Answer this however you feel just. The health and fitness is let's do this. So I heard a great lecture from Anthony Robbins, and he was talking about how he travels, and he was talking about how many hands he shakes, and that he doesn't get sick because of the hands he shakes. He gets sick because his immune system is down.
Right.
And I love that aspect because it was very simply put, and it's somebody I respect. And also I know that the research that this guy is around, again, is that top tier, which I'm lucky enough to be around as well.
Yeah.
But it really is about your own immune system, not about other people. Now I know that somebody's going to be offended that I said this, but it really is the point of you being as strong as you possibly can, not physically. I mean, the body, your immune system, and that way you can continue going through things. Even for me, when I do expos, I try to build up the immune system. Would this be something that they can take right now and then get off it in 4 weeks?
Absolutely. You can take this whenever you want.
Period.
Yeah, there's no on off as far as this goes. If you want to take it as a prophylactic, a preventative, you can do that. If you want to wait and let's say you've worn down your immune system and you do get sick and you want to start taking, you can do that then. Like you said, it's a good point, right? That it's our immune systems that cause us the issue, right? And that could be a number of different things. You can have autoimmune disease, a compromised immune system of some sort, or you can just be worn down, right? If we haven't slept for 2-3 days straight, our body is going to be worn down. The immune system is not going to be at the ultimate level that it should be and running optimally. So at that point, if this happens and you get around a whole bunch of sick people, your body's going to have a hard time fighting these things off. So that's why it's so key to be able to get the right amount of sleep so your body's prepared there, eat the right foods, supplementation wise, doing some of these different therapies, possibly giving yourself the best possible chance to not get sick or to have your immune system working at the optimal level that it should be working at.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show. These are some of the things that I think is so beneficial. And again, we did a panel, if I'm correct, the CMP panel.
Yep.
And I kind of went over this with your top tier wellness provider
Yep.
Well, they're all top tier. So,
Yes.
but we came back and my numbers were incredible for me,
Yeah.
or I guess for the average person that's healthy and eating right and training right. And so here is my sit down going over my CMP panel with Titan Medical Wellness Provider, and kind of you guys can look into what my blood numbers are looking like here, and my markers, I guess you would say, is what they say.
Yep.
And you can see how my kidneys and liver, and what else is in the CMP panel.
So CMP usually covers like electrolytes. The big highlights in that panel are kidneys and liver functions. That's the big takeaway out of that. When you start looking at some of the different things, I mean, there's some different things like sodium levels. Like I said, electrolytes are in there. That's probably the biggest thing.
Well, I think with health and fitness, mostly bodybuilding,
Huge.
mostly me, Mr. Universe, powerlifting champion, that would be the big discussion, because I've lost so many friends from kidneys and liver problems. And so this would be a great panel for us, and especially me, especially at this stage of the game.
I mean, even electrolytes. Think how many people have died on stage because they've been handed diuretics,
Benaziza,
and an imbalance in electrolytes, and they're done. I mean, it's something that's very serious.
Well, let's get into this. Let's see what my kidneys and liver are looking like, shall we?
I'm Chenille. I'm the head nurse practitioner here at Titan Medical Center. It'll be 6 years in February. I couldn't be happier to be here with this amazing team, and to have wonderful patients and just be able to speak with everyone about their labs and their goals. So we're going to do a little bit of that today.
I've had blood tests throughout my long career, but I've never been able to sit down with an expert on this and then talk to the fans and say what's good, what's bad.
So what we're looking at for all of you at home is the first part, which is the CBC, or looking at your white blood cells, red blood cells, hemoglobin, hematocrit, which can tell you a lot of different things. For patients who are already on or considering starting any kind of hormone replacement therapy, we do want to focus primarily here on the red blood cells, hemoglobin, and hematocrit values, all of which are absolutely perfect here for you. The reason we focus on these values is because when you do take any hormone supplementation that can stimulate testosterone in the body, testosterone does stimulate the bone marrow to produce more red blood cells. So over time, you can see a possible increase in these values, which means the blood is starting to become more thick, which can then make you more susceptible to things like blood clots and decreased blood flow and circulation in the body. So it is really important to monitor those levels. Again, yours are excellent. If for any reason they do go up too much, we would just advise patients to do blood donations to make sure that we're keeping those at a safe level. The immature granulocytes, that is a test. It's a portion of the white blood cells. So all of this lower section, like your neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, basophils, those all make up portions of the white blood cells. And if you have immature granulocytes, that's just basically an immature white blood cell that's being produced. There's a lot of different things that can cause those, such as inflammation, stress on the body. Of course, you can then get into cancer potentials and things like that, which is typically at much higher levels than this. Yours is just very marginally elevated, so could just be inflammation and things like that. If it is ever a concerning level or anything like that, we would always just advise doing a repeat lab test just to make sure it is accurate. But I don't see anything alarming about where your levels are at there currently.
That's great that it's that cancer, because it runs through the family. So it's one of those things that I would go back right now and just check that for my own self-concern.
And we can certainly do that for you if you would like to. And just a peace of mind here too. I mean, your white blood cell count is absolutely perfect, which is, one of the main things that we're kind of looking at there for that as well. And even as it says here, from LabCorp, which is where we had the labs completed, an elevated percentage of the immature granulocytes is not found to be clinically significant as a sole clinical predictor of disease. So, like I said, inflammation and other markers can always cause that too. So.
All right, let's move on. What do we got next?
So next here, we're looking at your comprehensive metabolic panel, which assesses several different areas. So the first thing here we're looking at is your glucose, which is essentially a snapshot of the sugar level in your blood at the time the labs were drawn. You're at an 84, which is absolutely perfect. This, again, doesn't look or show any indication of diabetes or anything like that. However, hemoglobin A1C would be a little bit more of an extensive, accurate test for that. Going down next here into the kidney function studies, we have your BUN, BU and creatinine ratio, creatinine and EGFR, which is the estimated glomerular filtration rate. And your levels here are excellent. You know, as I had briefly mentioned previously, it does look like slightly on the side of dehydration, but not anything significant, which, you know, in people that do train extensively and really hard, especially waking up first thing in the morning, sometimes it is a little bit harder to be fully hydrated when you go in for your lab work in the morning, since you're not really drinking any water all throughout the night. So again, not anything concerning. Your kidney functions were absolutely perfect here, and everything there was normal. And you are correct, you know, high protein consumption, especially, you know, if say people don't break it down the same way as someone else, that can affect it. And even too, just for anyone, you know, that does train a lot at home, if you're going to go in for lab work or anything, something to kind of keep in mind too, being dehydrated prior to the labs, having a high protein diet, even doing really strenuous or vigorous activity the night prior, morning of the labs, depending on, you know, just with the muscle breakdown that occurs with activity, can sometimes cause mild temporary elevations in the creatinine or even a decrease in the GFR levels.
So what you're saying is I didn't train hard before this. That's why the numbers are decent. Okay.
So yeah, that was perfect. And then it just kind of goes into your electrolytes here with the sodium and potassium, which were perfect for you. And then on the next page, we have the other ones here going into calcium, chloride, all those were excellent. Going into the next portion of the CMP, your albumin, globulin, and then the AG ratio is just looking at the albumin and globulin ratios here, which is essentially the protein ratios, all of which were absolutely perfect for you. Sometimes that might be elevated just depending on the different types of protein in the diet. But again, your levels are perfect. Everything was normal.
All right. So, there we go. I guess I'm going to be here for a bit longer. we have some good numbers there. I love the fact that we did this, and it's also, I am guest posing and in shape that we see these numbers that my body is functioning off of. And maybe that's one of the good reasons that I've always talked about. Try to eat healthy, try to create the physique that is maintainable, and also train heavy for the rep range you're doing. And so the kidneys and the liver look great on me, and the numbers are in such a good, fine place. That also, to me, I was always curious about the amount of protein I eat. I'm a very high protein. Now I eat carbs and fats. I'm not saying don't do that. I do that. But I'm even above what most people in the health and fitness world eat on protein. And I've always heard stories about, be careful about that, doing that. And I've done this since, it's been 47 years eating high protein. And so it's nice to see that the kidneys and the liver are still not just there, but healthy there. So again, maybe it's my genetics and how I've been able to do this. I'm not saying that everybody else should do what I do, but it's good to see for myself and my family that my kidneys and livers are healthy, and I am a high protein guy, and we're still here.
I'm right there with you. You know, I'm a very, very high protein type guy. You know exactly what I eat. We're the same in that light. So, you know, there was, you know, the stories like, listen, if you eat a huge high protein diet, this can cause stress on the kidneys and this cause kidney issues, right? Never seen that as far as with me or anything like that, as far as that goes. You know, I've seen more people cause more kidney damage to themselves, whether they had high blood pressure and didn't know about it, they were type 2 diabetic, didn't know about it, or they're taking different things that could damage the kidney directly. You know, so that were the big things. Like in a CMP2, you're going to go over like a fasting glucose. So I'll tell you what your fasting glucose is. If you don't fast, it's not going to tell you right reading. But if you do fast, you'll kind of see where you're at in that level. So that's the only thing to look at. The only thing I can say about kidneys is you want to make sure you're hydrated too, because if you're dehydrated all the time, that's also going to cause kidney problems and damage. So you want to make sure you're hydrated. If you're going to do a blood test, don't go work out the day before. If you go work out the day before, it could cause the kidney numbers to be skewed a little bit and to be lower than what they actually are. So always wait one day before. If you're thinking, hey, listen, my kidneys might have issues, you want to drink as much water as possible. Don't work out the day before you do the blood test, and then go in and do the blood test and then see what's going on. You know, at that point, just look them over and see what's up, because, you know, the liver, to me, they both can regenerate themselves, but the liver is more easier to regenerate, where kidneys are not easy to regenerate. They don't have time to get stress off them. So at that point, they stay stressed and they can just go like this real quick if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, if my numbers were higher, or somebody's out there and they're dealing with those CMP numbers, and maybe the TSA, what is it?
Well, so you got the CMP, which is ALT and AST.
Or
That's
AST,
liver
that's
enzymes.
right.
And then you have the EGFR, which are your kidney. That's your kidney function. You have that, and the creatinine. And
If
albumin.
those are running high,
Yeah.
The glutathione is one of those main ones that you said.
Glutathione will get that liver function down in like 2 to 3 weeks. I've seen
How do
people
you
with
keep it
triple
down?
digits. Huh?
How would you? Okay, so it gets the numbers down.
Sure.
Is what else do they need to do?
There's something causing those numbers
Right.
to rise, right? So when
Figure it
somebody
out.
has-
Is it diet, the partying?
It could be diet. Like I said, it could be alcohol. It could be acetaminophen. They take a whole bunch of Tylenol. I mean, that will definitely hurt the liver functions. And then you have Advil, which will damage the kidneys. So at that point, you got to make sure that you're watching out for these things and how much you're taking. But usually supplementation can do this. So I've seen people taking over-the-counter supplements or some of these different things out there, like even SARMs, and very toxic to the liver, raise their liver functions through the roof. So at that point, we can get it under control, but we have to say, hey, listen, you need to start taking some of these things away. When you start taking some of these things away, we can retest and we can see what's really going on to really see, hey, listen, was it this? Was it that? But you can control it. Like I said, if your diet's on point, you're not eating a whole bunch of fried foods and all that, you're going to be good there.
One of the things you just said, I don't want to run past this because
Sure.
this is also one of those statements I heard as a kid. And this is great because I think Titan Medical has something that can help you here. So I always heard that, if you eat too much protein, you're going to hurt your kidneys and liver.
Right.
Well, for me, that hasn't happened in
Right.
this in time. Great. Okay, but that's maybe not everybody. But something else that I've heard is when you take so many over-the-counter supplements, they're taking everything under the sun because they think they need it. Now, here's something interesting. You guys do a test, or they can request a test where you can say, hey, what vitamins are you actually deficient on? That way the person's not out there and they got every single vitamin that is known to man to build muscle and build strength. So they're not on 40 different types of vitamins. Because I've seen these guys.
Oh, yeah.
They got their big package like this and it's all separated. And I go, oh, no, they got everything. And every meal they're taking their 40 different vitamins. So this is something I've heard could cause issues. And so just understand people out there, besides it being a financial burden,
Right.
you can you go into what kind of tests you would do for that to make sure that they can know what to take and what not to take?
Sure. So you want to look at a couple different things. And usually amino acids are a big function for people out there. They're taking branch chains, they're drinking them all day, or they're taking other amino acids or even other different vitamins. So for the amino acids, we can literally test every amino acid, non-essential and essential, in one test and see where you're at. Are you lacking some of these different things? Or are you okay in some of these different things? See where that's at. And then if we want to break down vitamins, we can start looking at vitamin C. We can look at vitamin D. We can look at vitamin B. It's the different ones there that you want to look at, right? And see, hey, where is this really at? Now, if somebody was going to say, well, all right, well, my numbers look okay, but I don't really want to take all these pills. And literally, I've seen like even Paloma did like the pill swallow challenge, and he puts like probably 100 pills in his hand and swallows them down. And he kind of started a challenge with everybody doing this.
I have never seen that.
When I started seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, this is just too much, right? And then you really think about it. If you think about the supplements you're taking in capsule form, over-the-counter form, those things all have fillers in them. They all have fillers. And you're getting maybe some of those different things that you might benefit a little bit from orally, but you're putting a lot in the body that it doesn't need to as well. So if you could take away all that stuff and not have to pass through the liver and the kidneys like they do, then the injectable is going to be a way better version to do because you're going to bypass that. You're going to get the maximum absorbency as far as that goes. And you know exactly what you're going to get. And there's not going to be any fillers in there too as well. So there's a lot of benefits of it. And then you can look right on paper. And I always tell people, like, listen, if you think your supplementation is working, run some of these different tests, or if you don't think it's working, run some of these different tests and then see exactly what it is. And then you'll know, right? It's on paper. You can see with your own eyes, black and white. And then you can make the decision what you want to do as far as supplementation. Do you want to do the injectable and kind of hit everything? Because when you start hitting tight and complete, you're hitting your branch change, you're hitting your B complex, your B12, all in one. And I can guarantee you, you take one of those shots and we blood test you, everything's going to come back super optimal, super, super optimal. And I put money on that. So, you know, and some of the different things I've tested people on, and they take it religiously every day, over-the-counter supplementation, and it does not come back that good. Now, have I seen some over-the-counter supplements that work okay? On blood tests especially, here or there in vitamin D, I've seen some different ones that work very well. You know, I think your vitamin D came back pretty good. You were taking oral supplementation. Sharice was taking one that I thought was pretty good. And there's an injectable if you don't want to do that. We have a 50,000 IU and 100,000 IU injectable. You take one time per week, and you're good to go with vitamin D. But if you don't like injectables, listen, I'm not going to sit here and be like, nothing over the counter works, because that would be a lie. So there are some different things, but it's a little bit of a trade-off too. You could be putting more stress on the organs than you want to. And if you don't want to do that, there's other options for you to go with.
I love the fact that you, at least there is something you can actually do a test. And so at the end of the day, for anybody out there, trust me, I'm one of those guys that takes a lot of vitamins.
Yeah.
But it was really cool for me to be able to do a test and go, hey, I don't need as much as this, and this as I thought relative. And so my body was utilizing, or at least I had enough in me that I didn't need to. And so again, it just helps knowing what is beneficial and what you need to take and what's too much. And again, I'm one of these guys that thinks if you need to take a lot of everything, there's something else going on.
Absolutely.
It's just, yeah, mostly in health and fitness. Just because the guy takes everything does not mean he's going to be something.
So just be that at all.
Yeah, be smart, guys.
You know,
be
the
smart.
other thing about it is, you know, there's people out there that think like, you know, the common response I get back to some of the injectables from some people out there, and then I look at their profile, I'm like, how's this person even talking? But what they say is, we don't need this. We can get everything from food. And as I agree,
isn't that debunked already?
It is. I mean, listen, our food sources are not what they used to be. We're not getting the nutrition that we used to. I don't care who you are. The other thing about it is that if you really want to get everything you possibly needed, you'd have to probably sit down all day and eat. And you have to really pick out your food sources. They'd have to be a machine like you to do it. Because at that point, it's not easy for somebody to do, especially if they do have a busy day. They work a full-time job. They got kids. They got all these different things. And they ain't got the time to sit around a table all day and be like, all right, well, I need to eat 50 grams of this. I need to eat 10 grams of this. I need to do this one. It's not happening out there. So that's why the supplement industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. And that's why we're around, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of deficiencies in some of these different things that they think they could possibly get from food, and they're not getting from food or from outside sources. And one example that I'm going to give you all, you guys, and I'll stop, is vitamin D. Everybody thinks, hey, listen, I go out in the sun. I need 15 minutes of sun every day to get good vitamin D levels. Well, I live in Florida. I go on vacations, guys. I don't use sunscreen.
This guy is in the sun. Trust me.
I'll be out there all day long, and still come back deficient for vitamin D. Sharice, everybody I pretty much test, unless they're on some sort of supplementation, is usually deficient with vitamin D. And vitamin D is not a vitamin, guys. It's a hormone. So it's a very, very serious thing, which can affect renal issues, and it can affect testosterone too as well. So there's a lot of things that come into play with this. So at that point, don't be ignorant about things. And if you think that you might have an issue or not have an issue and you want to make sure you're optimal, test for it, see what it is. Because vitamin D is one that can be toxic if you take too much of it.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people are very high on vitamin D. A lot of the people that I talk to and respect, they love the vitamin D and make sure to take it. And again, like you said, you are in Florida and you are in the sun. I am a vampire, 100%.
Yeah.
I am up before the sun is out, and I try to get inside before the sun does come out.
Yeah.
So I'm somebody that does take vitamin D, and I take it serious.
Me too.
That being said, hey guys, maybe too serious. Hey, that being said, Johnny, thanks for giving me all this information, and not just me, but the world today.
Absolutely.
I appreciate this. And again, thank you for allowing me to do the blood work and going over my results, not
Absolutely.
just with your Titan professional, but with you there, and the world now gets to see those blood markers of mine. And maybe this will help some people take their health a little bit more serious. And then on top of that, the products that are available for making somebody healthier is incredible on what is available nowadays. So people, do your research, do your studies, read up on it, and just know it's available.
Absolutely. Know your options.
That's it. Thanks, Big Johnny. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, bro.
Thanks for staying with us today. And I'm glad I got to show you some of the blood markers. I will continue to do that with the other markers as well. But I really wanted to focus on those two aspects because I know in health and fitness industry, or at least what I've seen, is the destruction to the kidneys and liver. And so I love the fact that I'm healthy, still here doing it today. And maybe this can help some of you move forward. And then at the end of the day too, this is all about, and everything I suggested here for you, getting checked, doing your blood work, seeing your markers. I fully understand. It just seems to give, or at least me at this stage of the game, some kind of comfort going, okay, great. The amount of protein doesn't hurt me individually. It doesn't cause any problems with me. The way I'm doing my supplementation, again, I'm still healthy, still doing it, and being able to stay here. Listen, we're all checking out at some point, right? But for me, being able to do what I love at the level that I'm still doing it today, I'm just happy to be here, happy to share that knowledge with you guys out there. The one thing I would say is everybody check for yourself what's best for you and what you're doing. And again, it's our one life. Live it. Take serious pride in it. And know this is you, your one life. Make the best of it. And then feel free to get a hold of Titan Medical if there is something that maybe you think you should be doing or checking. That's it. Enjoy the day. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next Friday.